just yet. Is there something there? Could they potentially work with each other? So that's where this starts. In general, you're a general manager. If I gave you the choice of the 16th best quarterback in the league or a top 5 defender in the league, who do you want on your team?
Well, I mean, the context is you always want the best player, but like if you don't have a good quarterback, it's really hard to win. I think you can win a lot with Brock Purdy. So if I didn't have a quarterback, I'm going to take the quarterback.
And that's where we're all at. Like it, and let's go there for a second, because football, team sport. I don't believe it is if you don't have a quarterback. I believe it becomes a team sport once you have a quarterback. Are you of the belief that the Pittsburgh Steelers should be doing everything in their power to go after every good quarterback that potentially is out there?
Yeah, like to me, like I'm assuming that they're signing Aaron Rodgers because their owner came out and basically said that. But if I was them, and I had this in my mock draft, and I still think it's plausible. I think the Bears have had a very good offseason. I think if Shador is there at 10, which I think is reasonable. If I'm Pittsburgh, I go up from 21 to 10, and I get Shador Sanders, and now I got Aaron Rodgers for 2025, and I have what I think is going to be a really good quarterback, for the foreseeable future, and that's way better than where they've been post-Ben in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, in 2019, they went from 20 to 10 to get Devin Bush. So if you do that for an off-the-ball linebacker, theoretically, you should do that for a quarterback. But I wanted to ask you, because the Pittsburgh Steelers and Aaron Rodgers have been linked. Does signing Aaron Rodgers preclude the Steelers from drafting Shador Sanders or drafting a quarterback with a first-round pick?
Not at all. I was in a situation in New York one year, Chris, where we had a really good season. We had Vinny Testaverde, we had Ray Lucas, and then opportunistically, Chad Pennington, ironically, he was sitting there at 18, same part of the draft. That's what good organizations do. They take advantage of opportunities. Like another one to me is the Rams. They're clearly in a year-to-year mode with Matt Stafford. If Jackson Dart or Tyler Shugg is sitting there, like if I'm the Rams, I'm taking him because, again, you want to procure quarterbacks because if you don't have one, you have no chance.
But I want to follow up with that question because we've been throwing around the idea of Aaron Rodgers potentially drawing this out and waiting to see what the Steelers or other prospective teams are going to do with their first-round pick before making a decision to sign. So if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, would you be comfortable with a scenario like that?
Not really. I mean, I'm never comfortable if I don't have a quarterback.
Okay.
I mean, even with a quarterback, I'm usually not comfortable.
That's your job, right?
Yeah, exactly. You are like the chief worry officer amongst other like what could possibly go wrong. And again, if we're Pittsburgh guys, like we went out, we gave up a second-round pick and $30 million a year for DK Metcalf, which is great. They needed more explosive players, but to me, like you got to scour for the quarterback position. What's wrong with Rodgers and Shador Sanders? Tell me, like, what's the downside to that?
That he might not like that.
Who, Rodgers?
Yeah, and it might preclude him from ultimately signing with you if he goes down the Kirk Cousins path from last year. Yeah,
but at some point, like, what's the expression? Fear does the work of reason. Like, where's Aaron Rodgers playing quarterback in 2025? If I'm Mike Tomlin, say, hey, you could come in and be our starter. We still have a very good, maybe not elite defense. We have a young offensive line. We think we're going to get Troy Fontenot back. We'll be better there. We got to pick up a back, but we still got, two monsters on the outside. Like, if I'm Aaron Rodgers and I want to play football and I got an all-time great head coach that wants me, like, what am I doing?
Let's go back to Brock Purdy for a second, because you're in agreement with us. If you don't have a quarterback, you're not going to do much winning. And the San Francisco 49ers know that they can win with Brock Purdy. He took them to a Super Bowl. But there's still questions about how effective he is without all of that talent around him. He's going to ask for a big number, as he should. He's earned it. He's probably looking at all of his peers who've gotten a lot of money and thinking, I should be right there, if not more. Is there a number, if you were in the San Francisco 49ers front office, that you would not cross with him? That you're like, you are not worth this or beyond?
Yeah, I mean, I like some of these recent deals, Geno Smith, Sam Darnold, it's probably like somewhere in the 40 range. The nice thing for the 49ers, though, is
40s.
Like, yeah.
Wait, you wouldn't give him more than 50 if you're the Niners?
Not yet. I don't need to. You're under contract for this year, and I can franchise you. So if you want to talk in 2027, we can do that as well.
But what if he doesn't show up for work?
Well, I mean, at some point, that is a concern. He could be a hold-in, which I think it's harder for.
It's harder for a quarterback to hold in, so he would have to not show up for work.
Yeah, which is really hard to do under the CBA. Like, again, we saw Jalen Ramsey.
But not under a rookie contract, though. Because the team can forgive the fines when it comes to a rookie deal.
Yeah, that's right. The quarterback does change the whole conversation. So, like we saw Jalen Ramsey run that play, really like the textbook hold in with Jacksonville.
Yeah, with his back.
back hurts. Gets straight to the Rams and majestically he's out. And again, going back to when you run a team, being the chief worry officer, you worry about a player who feels aggrieved not showing up and then not playing. But look, I don't know Purdy personally, but watching him going back to Iowa State, I don't think he's the type of guy that's not going to show up. Now, with that said, if you're San Francisco and they do all the right things in terms of players, like I think they're going to reward that good faith. But I think there is a little bit of a gap now because Sam Darnold and Geno Smith have like real pelts on the wall. They have been good NFL quarterbacks. If I'm the 49ers, I look at those two deals and say, do I have to go above that? Matt Stafford, like, do I have to go above that? So,
yeah,
that's a great point. Do you have to go above Matt Stafford?
Right.
He's going to ask for it, right?
Sure.
He should.
I mean, it's America. You can ask for anything you want.
Yeah.
But Mike, and we're talking about Mike Tannenbaum. So let's play this out for a second here. Okay, so I don't agree. I would give more if I'm the Niners. You were a GM. I'm a radio host.
Purdy's not a better quarterback than Matt Stafford, though.
No, but he also is. I think he's better than Geno, and I think he's better than Sam Darnold, and I think he deserves to be in the 50s. So that is my guesstimation is if you're saying I wouldn't even go past 50, and he's going to want, let's call it, CeCe's been throwing out 58. That is an enormous gap.
Yeah.
Okay? So with that said, why are we not connecting dots and making something easy happen? Why is he not going to Pittsburgh for the 21st pick in TJ Watt? And why are the Niners not then signing Rodgers and drafting Shador? And why is Pittsburgh not buying their way out of quarterback purgatory every year?
Because if I'm the 49ers, I'm saying, like, I have a good young quarterback. Again, we could debate, is he top 15, top 12, top 10, but we can win with him, as Michelle said. And to me, like, I want to get something done. And, oh, by the way, like, you're under contract this year. We could franchise you. So we still have 2 more years and 3 drafts to try to replace you. Like,
but he can make the money he's scheduled to make for the Niners this year. He can actually make it. I don't even mean playing football. He could take a GM job at Iowa State. He could get endorsement. He's making $5 million. Brock Purdy can make $5 million not playing football this year.
Yeah, he's going to play football. Like, there's no way, like, the way he's constituted. But I think if I'm the 49ers, to answer your question, the reason I'm not, I'm going to work really hard to get Brock Purdy signed. And I'm just telling you, like, it's my instincts. I would begin and end every sentence is, we love you. We want to get a deal done. And did I mention we have your rights for the next 2 years? So, like in a nice way. But, like, and if I'm Brock Purdy,
Just reminding him.
Yeah, exactly. But if I'm Brock Purdy, the inverse is, like, it works with Kyle Shanahan. It works with these weapons. Now, look, you know, some of those guys have graduated, but that's, like, part of the deal. But I don't know. Like, to me, if I'm Purdy, it works there.
Mr. T, Brock Purdy is the most debated veteran contract that will be discussed this offseason. Shador Sanders is the most debated prospect in this year's NFL draft. We had Kevin Clark on the show yesterday, who was down at the owners' meetings a week ago, and he said that a lot of talent evaluators took umbrage with Shador Sanders, saying that he doesn't watch tape of other quarterbacks and that he just focuses on what he does. You, as a former general manager, would you have an issue with that?
No, because I think he loves football. You can't be sacked 94 times in 2 years and miss one game and not love football. By the record, I was at the league meetings too. Kevin stopped by and then he played golf on the next day.
No?
Mike Tannenbaum at the Breakers. Needed everybody to know that.
I respect it. It's amazing.
Kevin and I did a show all season long. I like to, you know, his handicap's better than mine. Obviously, one person has more time to play golf, but, you know, story for another day. Anyway, so, look, I think it's all about, like, look, Chris, you spent your life in locker rooms. Like, you know the guys that love ball, that are going to sacrifice and play hurt and do what they can. So, however Shador gets there, I don't really care. But, again, for him to answer the bell as many times as he has, again, the last 2 years, 59 starting quarterbacks in 2024, 66 in 2023. If the 4 of us were running an NFL team, guys, durability at the quarterback position is a critical factor.
You ain't got to tell me. Eli Manning was my quarterback.
Right, yeah, right, exactly. But, like, you know, we're talking about Brock Purdy, but it's like when those guys aren't available, what are you playing with? And that's where, like, again, you know, Shador's style, maybe not for everybody. He's coming in extremely confident. You know, some people are going to like that. Obviously, he's going to turn some people off. But, like, at the end of the day, the old Coach Parcells, like, we go by what we see. And this guy shows up every week, and he's a good football player. He's a good quarterback, and he's going to make some team better.
So, Mike T, based on what you've been hearing around the league, it sounds like it's more of an issue with the personality of Shador than it is the overall game of Shador.
It's a little bit of both. Like, I talked to a lot of teams, and what's interesting, like, you hear this a lot about, like, corners. Like, corners is a traits position. You need length. You got to be able to run. That's really the discussion now at the quarterback position. Like, to me, and maybe because I've had success with Ryan Tannehill and Chad Pennington, but give me the quarterback who's solid, makes good decisions, and that's what Shador Sanders in. Like, we could talk about traits like Trevor Lawrence. How's that worked out? Anthony Richardson, how's that worked out? Like, so to
Chad
me,
Pennington was a damn good quarterback, didn't have a lot of dominant physical traits.
right. Kirk Cousins, right? Geno Smith, like those are guys like you could win a lot of games with, and that's what I see Shedeur. I keep comping him to Kirk Cousins. I think he's going to be a really good player. He may not have that high-end talent of Cam Ward, but if we were running a team, I'd be thrilled if Shedeur was our quarterback because he's tough, he's dependable, he's accurate. Do I wish he was a little bit stronger? Of course. Do I think he's, athletically he's good, not great, but again, like the conversation we're having, like he would be materially better than any post-Ben Roethlisberger quarterback that the Steelers have had.
So we've talked about him potentially slipping, maybe not out of the first round, but maybe getting down to 9 to the Saints. Do you think the Giants and the Browns will regret passing on him if they do?
Well, I think what they both have to do, and this is why I think this year's draft is so interesting. By the way, it'll be covered on ESPN Radio. Good
What are you looking at me for? That's to tell everybody else.
Yeah.
We'll be there. Green Bay, can't wait.
So will we.
Love it.
Yeah. Anyway,
You're funny.
Great promo, Mike.
is funny.
That's great.
no, we
Mike is
get all
so
these
funny.
emails to promote like the fact that ESPN
Yes,
Radio.
Mike is
Good
going to
work.
be on the
Good work.
draft
Yeah.
on the Thursday and Friday of the draft from Green Bay. Yes,
Can't
that
wait.
is true.
Yeah, right. I'm just doing what was asked
You're
of
doing
us.
a good job.
Yeah, we got to, we're just
get
ready
the
to play
email,
those
yeah,
calls.
Mike,
Yeah.
See, Mike is so good at being a team guy because he ran a team and he probably drives him. He probably in his head is all the people in his organization historically that didn't act as team people, and it still probably drives you crazy. Right?
Yeah, they're dead to me.
By the way,
Wow.
I don't blame you.
I love
I
that.
seriously
I
don't
love
blame
that.
you. If you're running a team, multiple teams like you are, and anyone is standing in the way of teamwork, I think those people should be dead to you.
Lifetime ban. Forget
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway.
that's a story for a beer or three. But anyway,
Oh, look forward to that.
yeah. So what were we talking about?
I said, will the Browns and the Giants
just doing
regret
promos.
passing on Shedeur if they do?
Yeah, so like to me, and this is what this year's draft will be so fascinating to me, Michelle. Like I think Abdul Carr, Travis Hunter go 2-3, 3-2, and then I think it's a race to get back up into Tyler Shugg, Jackson Dart, or a Shedeur against Slides. And to me, like I think Chicago is the first team. I think they've had a really good offseason. Credit Ryan Poles. Like he attacked the weaknesses of his team. He improved it. And now, like, if I'm them, like we're more than one player away. First year with Ben Johnson, trade back. And I think both those teams like will need to go back and get a quarterback. And now, if we're sitting here, guys, in early May, and the Giants have fill in the blank, Abdul Carter and Jackson Dart, like they should be much better.
Mike, last thing, very quickly here. What is the last 2 weeks, let's say, for a general manager getting ready for the draft? Is all the work done? Are you calling private investigators to find like crazy?
Yeah.
No, seriously, what happens?
You
here?
know, like I always say this, like you're always proud, like when you turn in the card because it's representative of the organization, the medical grade, the security grade, the psychological grade, the area scout grade, like that all comes together. And unfortunately, like we saw a story with Isaiah Bond, and you don't know what's true, but like if we were running a team and we need a receiver, like we're going to get to the bottom of Isaiah Bond like very quickly here. So you're crossing T's, dotting I's, or like, Shedeur just went into Pittsburgh. Like you're bringing guys back in that maybe, hey, like, do we have all the information we need?
Mike Tannenbaum, you'll see him on Get Up at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. And in case you weren't